Hey everyone, it's Wael Al-Jardi here, and in this video we will be discussing the importance of raw milk in helping kids who have autism. Now, this video is going to be discussing a brief history and why raw milk is important and how we can use it and implement it in our day-to-day basis in order to help our children and even help ourselves, of course. Because raw milk is a miraculous food. It's an amazing superfood that has so much medicinal properties, and many people are misunderstanding that because of certain narratives, certain conditionings in society, and basically fear-mongering things that we have to always cook the milk. But actually, as we will be discussing in the video, we will see that just after we started cooking and processing the milk, that's when we started having health problems from the milk. My name is Wael Al-Jardi. I'm a holistic health coach, and I work with parents who have kids who have autism, and I help them through a dietary nutritional plan and also a training so they can help their child to start thriving and develop to their fullest potential. And we do that, of course, through diet, and one of the main components in the diet that we use is raw milk. Now, I've seen that many people are scared from milk. They say avoid milk, especially for kids who have autism. You have the dairy-free diet, gluten-free, dairy-free diet. And there are several diets that warn parents to stay away from milk, but we've been using milk. The kids that I work with, they've been using milk and they were feeling great, right? So raw milk is an amazing food if we use it in a proper manner. But let's talk generally about its natural form. Milk is produced, of course, by mammals, and it comes out naturally and in a natural form. But sometimes the milk can be bad if the mammal is bad. Like if the mammal is having health problems, if the mammal is not eating a proper diet, of course it's going to produce a bad milk, right? So the same thing with mothers. If mothers are having bad health, maybe they're not taking care of their nutrition, maybe they're not going to have any milk, or maybe they're going to have bad milk. So the child will start refusing the milk, maybe because it's acidic, and then with time, the mother will stop producing milk. So when it comes to milk, milk in general is a superfood, but it depends on the quality of the milk. And the quality of the milk depends on the quality of the food that the mother is having, okay? So just to make it clear, this is just before the process of eating or consuming the food. The quality of the milk is determined by the animal or the health of the animal or the human, okay? Now, after the milk is extracted, we have certain ways to process it. And now in society, now you don't see any raw milk. You see processed milk, pasteurized milk, evaporated milk, skimmed milk, all that stuff, powdered milk. And these types of milk are very bad, and they've created a lot of skin problems, constipation, inflammatory bowel disease. So many problems have been created by these dairy items that we cannot really call them milk. They're ultra processed, and there's so many ingredients in them that they're not really in their natural state. So we're taking this liquid food, which is basically the nectar of mammals, because each mammal is producing this elixir that is feeding the child, making the child grow to their fullest potential, because that child still doesn't eat, right? So this milk is now used in different ways that is processed, etc., and then it became bad, okay? But raw milk in its old form is basically breast milk, maybe from the cow, from the goat, from the sheep, from the camel, and that is perfect as long as the animal is healthy, okay? So that's the first thing. So treatments to that milk is going to affect the milk, is going to create imbalance in the molecules of the milk. It will alter the milk. And that imbalance can be maybe slight, maybe with short-term pasteurization or low heat heating of the milk, right? Or maybe homogenization or ultra pasteurization, all these types of treatments for the milk now that are affecting the quality of the milk. So we're changing the nature of the milk, and then it's becoming bad. Now, some people are saying, no, processing the milk doesn't make it bad. Milk is bad maybe overall, blah, 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 all that stuff. But no, we're seeing otherwise. Like, how can we tell people who have lactose intolerance and they take raw milk and now all their intolerances are gone? Like, I've worked with people who have allergies, lactose intolerance, leaky gut problems, all that stuff. They couldn't digest milk. They had asthma every time they had any type of dairy. All of that gone, just simply because they switched to raw dairy, right, and raw milk. Now, of course, there is a process to do that, and there's a way to introduce it slowly if the case is severe, but they don't have the problem in raw milk, right? So it doesn't make sense that they are saying that raw milk is bad, although that we are seeing all those health benefits. And also on the other side, people are saying that raw milk is maybe bad because of parasites, bacteria, all that stuff. But those things are natural. Like if the milk is toxic, if the milk has bad toxins in it, of course it's going to have microbes that's going to achieve balance in the milk, like parasites, etc. But we're talking about good quality milk, clean milk, milk that is fresh from the cows, from the sheep, from the goat, from the camel, and those animals are healthy. They will produce healthy milk. And in healthy milk, you will not see bad stuff in it. Okay, so it will not cause any problems. So that's about it with the introduction between the raw milk and the pasteurized milk. Just to add something quickly, pasteurized milk is going to be acidic and it's going to be very harmful because now you are cooking the milk, heating the milk, processing the milk now gets out of balance, and basically it will start creating health problems in the body because the body cannot digest it and use it properly. The enzymes are broken, bacteria is lost. Bacteria is essential. Like all these fears around bacteria, it's fear-mongering things that don't exist. Like bacteria is super important. We are 99.9% bacteria. Like we are not human. It's like we are bacteria more than human. So bacteria is very important. We depend on bacteria. If bacteria levels are low, our body will not work well. Okay? And now you see all these doctors giving antibiotics all over the place. So raw milk is not acidic and it's not inflammatory. It's going to help the body start healing. So the simple shift from cutting out all the dairy is good, of course, if it's pasteurized dairy, but adding on that superfood, raw milk, is going to feed the nervous system, it's going to nourish the brain and start helping the body getting the nutrition that it needs, and also it will cleanse the body. Okay, so it's a very important food that we have to include and start including more and more. It's becoming trendy now because people are noticing the truth about it. They are noticing that no, milk is not bad, it's just the ways that they are processing that is bad, right? And the truth now is coming to light. And the reason that now the truth is coming to light is because in the old times, they were always using raw milk, like traditionally, we used raw milk. But just recently, during the industrial age, we started using processing methods to process dairy to make it last longer in shelves. So big dairy companies start making more money and start selling to different countries. So small farmers weren't able to start selling. Now we have big dairy companies that are selling, right? So this whole story around raw milk was created to benefit this big corporation and big dairy. Okay, so it does not create acidosis, raw milk. So raw milk is not acidic. It does not create acidosis. And acidosis is when we are not able to digest the milk properly. So it will create inflammation in the body. because we're not able to absorb some of the minerals, we're not able to digest the milk. Now the milk is spoiling and rotting in our body and creating a lot of acidity in that way, and basically thinning the mucous membrane of the body, right? We have this mucous membrane in our body, and it becomes, the acid will start burning through it, and it can create inflammation, right? And also the nutrients in the milk will not be absorbed, so it can create liver problems, okay? But that doesn't happen in raw milk. Raw milk is easily absorbed, easily digested, and is medicinal, okay? It's very medicinal. It's a superfood, and it's hydrating. It's mainly 90% of it is water, okay? 90% of it is water. It feeds the brain and the nervous system. Once we eat raw milk, it's the perfect food for the brain and for the nervous system. And that's why it's good for kids who are having neurological problems, who have autism, who have ADHD, and it's going to start healing the nervous system. It's a superfood for the nervous system and for the brain, okay? And we can have it from camels, from even horses, horse milk, you know, donkey milk. You have cow milk, of course, buffalo milk, sheep milk, goat milk. But the most important thing is we want good quality, right? So cow milk would be readily available, goat milk would be readily available, donkey milk has been available in several areas as well, camel milk if you're in the Gulf. So just get any type of raw dairy and start using it, okay? Which type of dairy that is more popular in your area, right? See the type of dairy. Don't be like, okay, I'm in Europe and I just want like camel milk, where maybe it's not available, although it can be available, but don't be too specific about it, because it's not only camel milk. Although camel milk is amazing and there's amazing stories around it, but it's not only camel milk, right? I've seen tremendous results with goat milk with kids who have autism. So there's also cow milk. So the whole concept of milk, raw milk, because milk is going to be easily digested, going back to that initial infancy state. When we are infants, we are taking this easily digested food and we are absorbing it. It's basically improving our energy. We're not exerting too much energy to digest it, and it's helping our body get stronger and stronger. Okay, it's a very simple food, liquid food that the body can use easily, and that's why it's helpful. Okay, so it feeds the brain and it feeds the nervous system. It has the perfect fat to do that, and not only the milk. We also have the cream, the butter, the raw cream, all uncooked. So we can basically do all these things without cooking or processing. We bring the milk, we separate it, we just do minimal things with it. Press it, isolate it, ferment it, and that's it. We don't really need any machinery, any processing, any of that stuff, any heating, nothing. Just basically raw milk, we ferment it, and that's it. We can use it. We can make kefir, we can make yogurt, we can make cheese, we can create butter, we can have the cream, all that stuff. For the brain and for the nervous system, we have the milk and the cream that are amazing. Okay, it's very hydrating. Once you drink raw milk, you will feel very different. Raw milk is directly digested by the gut microbiome. So we have these gut bacteria that are basically essential, as we said, in our day-to-day life. It helps us in our mood. It helps with our digestion. It helps with so many things, and without them, there will be a lot of imbalances, whether it's in the mental level or even physical level. Stress will increase, digestive problem will increase, right? Neurological problems will increase. Bacteria is going to basically help us break down the food and help us digest the food easily. So most of the digestion is going to be assisted by the bacteria. okay? Because bacteria is going to break down the food, and we basically will eat after the bacteria. We're going to consume the food after the bacteria. And we consume the food through the lacteal system, which in raw milk, we basically directly absorb it through the lacteal system, which is the immune system. So you have the bacteria that you are feeding the bacteria, creating the perfect food for the bacteria to start flourishing and improving in number. And then your lymphatic system, which is the immune system, is going to absorb it. So you're feeding directly your lymphatic system, your immune system, and in the gut. Okay? It's also going to cleanse the gut. If there's any toxins in the gut, it's going to flush it out. So if you had any diarrhea for maybe a day or two or three, it's okay. Like diarrhea, don't be afraid of diarrhea. In diarrhea, the body is basically eliminating toxins, right? The same thing when you get a cold and flu. Getting a cold and flu, your body might get a diarrhea. That's okay. It's not like we have to take antibiotics or do that or the other. It's when we do that where we have a problem. People who take antibiotic because they're scared of the diarrhea, those people who have problems, okay? So you don't have to fight the diarrhea, because the diarrhea, we have to understand it. Like why the body does diarrhea. Like diarrhea is a natural process that the body does. So if the body needs a diarrhea, we have to allow it. If the body needs cold, to have a cold or to have a flu, then we have to allow it to have it. We cannot shovel in antibiotics and paracetamol or whatever to shut it down. We have to allow these symptoms to occur because these are positive things. Okay, they're allowing our body to cleanse. Okay, so raw milk is going to be directly digested, and it's going to be easily absorbed by the lymphatic system. It will strengthen the lymphatic system, and also it's a perfect food for the brain. Okay, it's going to feed the brain, especially if we slowly drink it. So we don't drink it like fast. We don't want to drink it cold, of course. We don't want cold milk. We want room temperature milk. So if you're storing it in the fridge, take it out 3 hours, 4 hours, or 5 hours before drinking it. Okay, the optimal milk is directly fresh from the milk, and that's when the growth hormones and all the proper nutrients are fully intact. But once we put it in the fridge, some of the benefits might go down, but they're still beneficial. Okay, so if you want to drink it, leave it outside the fridge so it can cool down. It's not that cold, I mean like warm up, and then you drink it. Okay, so you'll be able to digest it faster and easier and retain the health benefits from it. So it's absorbed by the lymphatic system. The lymphatic system is all over the body. It helps detoxify the body. The lymphatic system is the detoxification system. Otherwise, it's called the immune system. So if you go on the web and write immune system, you will see these microbes and blah, blah, blah. But if you write the lymphatic system, it's the same thing. So the doctors don't tell you about the lymphatic system, they tell you about the immune system. But the immune system is the lymphatic system. So the lymphatic system is a real system, like the blood vessels, blah, 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 all over the body. There are certain foods that will feed it, will make it stronger. And this is the main thing that we need when it comes to detox. When it comes to detox, we don't want to take a supplement or something like that. We just need to strengthen the lymphatic system, make sure that the body is protected, make sure that we're doing the safe stuff, the important and necessary things. So we're not pushing the body beyond its extremes, and we're nourishing, hydrating the body, feeding the brain, feeding the nervous system, feeding the lymphatic system. So can we reverse the dairy allergies and intolerances? Of course. We can definitely do that if you have any intolerances to dairy, if you haven't been able to digest raw milk or pasteurized milk, then you have to start slowly with it. Okay, if also you didn't have any results with raw milk, so if you tried pasteurized milk and it didn't work, like it was giving you a lot of problems, and then you tried raw milk and it's still giving you problems, then you have to start slowly with it. Okay, make sure it's not cold. That's the most important thing. Then start slowly with it. And if you want to make it easier to digest, you have to add a one raw egg to it. Okay, and raw egg will help it in the digestion. Okay, and start slowly. We don't have to push it fast, because in some cases there's problems in the gallbladder, in digesting the fat, right? Maybe the bacteria is very low in the gut, so you will have these things. Or maybe in some cases there's problems in the peristalsis muscles, so you're basically not able to digest the milk because of that. Okay, so we have to just be aware that our body is maybe coming from a dark place, and we have to take time with helping it heal. So of course we can reverse any allergies, any intolerances in any food if we eat the right food. It also will reverse the leaky gut. The leaky gut is basically when the mucous membrane, which is in our mouth, all over our gut, this mucous membrane becomes thin and becomes weak, and it will basically invite inflammation, because this protective layer is going to protect us from any irritation that is going into the cells. So this mucous membrane is going to protect us, and the raw milk is going to strengthen that mucous membrane. Okay, it's going to strengthen that slimy substance that is part of the immune system. The mucous membrane is the lymphatic system, is the immune system. It's part of it. Okay, so it will reverse the leaky gut. So if there's any leaky gut, it will seal the gut, it will prevent any irritation that is happening to the gut, and it will create good balance to the brain, because the brain is connected to the gut. Any problems in the gut is going to affect the brain, right? So leaky gut is going to affect the brain because you have all this inflammation, all this irritation to the mucous membrane. It's basically overwhelming to the brain. Now you're having problems in producing serotonin, for example, right? So there's a lot of problems that might emerge because of that: diarrhea, constipation, etc., if there's leaky gut. So raw dairy is raw milk, raw cream, raw butter, raw yogurt, raw kefir, raw cheese, and I hope I didn't miss anything, raw whey, buttermilk. You have a huge variety of these raw dairies, and they are super medicinal. There are people who are only eating raw milk and raw dairy. They're not consuming anything else, only raw dairy, and they're having fantastic health. There are tribes who are eating 90% of their diet for decades. Like, imagine a tribe, a full tribe, that is eating 90% of its diet. Some tribes are even more than 90%. Some tribes are 80, some tribes are 70. But tribes, like ancient tribes and traditional tribes, they used to eat like 70% plus, like, of their diet, raw dairy, from raw milk, raw yogurt, all that stuff. So it's a huge source of nutrition. And it's an essential food that has been restricted for so long. And now people are we're waking up to the truth that it's bad, right? So how we can introduce it? Start by introducing it slowly, especially if your child has allergies to raw milk, allergies to milk, or have problems with milk. Start introducing it slow, okay? Make sure that your child is loving it. We don't want to force feed or force give the food. We want to make it enjoyable. That's the most important thing. Never force anything, especially if your child has picky eating. Just make him curious. The solution to picky eating mainly will be in curiosity. If the child is curious, the child will be invited towards trying it. Okay, so raw milk, we can introduce it in slowly with plain. Like, some kids will love it plain. Don't heat it. So when you buy it, just remove it from the fridge. Allow it to sit and to warm down a little bit, and then you can serve it like that. So we don't want cold milk, we just need room temperature milk, okay? And in that raw milk, if you want to maybe slightly warm it up, you can bring a bowl of warm water, lukewarm water, like make sure like it's not hot, because if it's very hot, it's going to damage the milk. Okay, and just place the milk that is in a glass jar inside the bowl so it will warm the milk. Okay, but I would say I would recommend against that. But you can do it if your child maybe is too stubborn to try room temperature milk. Okay, but I always push towards that room temperature milk because it will make your life much easier. Okay, than like being dependent on warming it up, blah blah blah. Okay, so room temperature milk. We don't want cold milk because cold milk is going to be hard to digest. Okay, so we want to take the milk from the fridge, let it rest on the counter for a few hours, and then we give it. Okay, so this is one way that we can give it, just plain milk. We can add honey to it, unheated honey, unpasteurized honey. They're doing the same thing with the honey, they're processing it just because of convenience and for sales. Bring the natural honey that is not processed, that is not heated, and just mix it with the milk. It will give it a great taste. You can make also a milkshake from it. You can add the honey, add the raw eggs that we're talking about, which is amazing also for the brain and for the nerves. Raw egg, don't be afraid of that. Get the good quality eggs and blend with it, blend it together and make a milkshake. You can add some fruits to it if you want. Okay, honey, eggs, milk. That's one way. And you can create the milkshakes, you can make smoothies, right? You can create the cream, you can buy the cream. There's so much things that you can do with it. You can make ice cream. And overall, once you start including these items, you'll start seeing amazing results. And the key here is for us to also add to the whole picture that diet is just one piece of the puzzle, right? If your child has developmental delays or developmental problems, then we cannot depend only on food. So we want to also include trainings, right? So food is going to be helpful definitely for autism, but it's not the only thing that we work with, right? It's just part of the bigger picture, but it's a very important part. Okay, so in the description there's a link if you want to press it and work with me, and just let me know in the chat what you thought about this video. Was it informative, and what other topics do you want me to talk about? I would love to know your thoughts about it. Leave a like if you enjoyed and share it with your friends and family. Have a great day.